Welcome everybody to Cheap Pops. I'm Nick.
I'm Dave, and he's weird. Oh my god.
Yes.
And if you can't tell by all of the Sting action figures and the Sting memorabilia,
Woo!
we're going to be talking about Sting's last match, AEW Revolution. That will be the last thing we talk about, but we got a lot to get to. This guy, I'm proud of him. He actually took notes, whether he'll remember them or not.
I got him on my film, people.
Oh, okay, so, well, that's good. So, what do you think about, this show, if you've never seen it before? We're called Cheap Pops. If you don't know what a Cheap Pop is, Google it. Google Cheap Pop Mick Foley and you'll get it. We mainly talk about wrestling, but we also talk movies, video games, pretty much anything pop culture that we like.
Mostly wrestling.
Mostly wrestling. And we got a lot to talk about today. So, what do you think about The Rock coming back for WrestleMania?
He got gassed in the promo.
I know. The promos are... And, like, it's lame to me. The jokes are the same kind of jokes he was doing for Cena. And I just don't...
Other than the you can't give me.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. I mean it's The Rock and he's the biggest star, but it's not making me more excited for WrestleMania than I already would be. Yeah.
It's the Croc. He was in the bathroom. You should have smelt what the brother was baking. Brother was baking.
And he's kind of like melding together the Hollywood Rock and the the 2000s Rock, the 1999, 2000 Rock, and it's like, I just don't care anymore, know. But, I mean, I think if they do the tag match of, Roman and the
Roman's got to take most of the match.
Yeah, Roman and The Rock against, Cody and Seth, that'll be cool. And I mean, Roman does a slow-paced match anyway, so it's not like it's going to hurt for, The Rock, but... I think Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre is going to be a good match. Rhea Ripley against Becky Lynch is going to be a good match. Hopefully they'll pick somebody good for Gunther to, defend the title against. And it kind of looks like they're still going with Logan Paul and Kevin Owens for the U.S. title. I'm okay with that. So, I'm not saying I'm not excited for WrestleMania just because of The Rock. I mean, it's WrestleMania. I'm always going to be...
It looks like they're leading up for a good match with LA Knight and AJ Styles.
Yeah, I mean, that should be a really good match, and LA Knight really needs something. They need to not make him Braun Strowman. They need to start pulling the trigger with him, or else the fans are not going to care anymore.
Exactly.
But did you watch any of the Elimination Chamber?
Bits and pieces of it. But that's the only thing I did not take notes on.
Alright, well...
Because you know me, I don't care about today's stuff.
Yeah, I know. But, Finn Balor and Damian Priest defended the tag titles against Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne.
This was a pretty good match.
It was a good match. I just wasn't interested in it.
Yeah, neither was I.
Damian Priest screwed up going into the turnbuckle at one point. Like, he had a drop toe hold put on him, and he kind of, double clutched it going into the, the turnbuckle. But whatever. Judgment Day retained the tag titles. That was actually the second match. The first match was the Women's Elimination Chamber.
Oh, you mean to tell me somebody messed up on their notes?
Yeah, well, at least I take notes. This is the first time you've taken notes, and we're like 30 episodes in, so I don't think you should be throwing stones there, boss. But
I'm going to throw a big stone here in a bit.
Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Raquel Rodriguez. Or Gonzalez, or whatever they're calling her.
I wish that they would have had her win it.
Who, Raquel?
Yes.
I knew they were going to go with Becky. I mean, I knew.
Yeah.
That seems to be the main match that you should do is Becky against Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to get the most, fans happy, and I don't think Becky Lynch should be the one to beat her for it.
No.
But, whatever.
If anything, I think Raquel needs it.
Yeah, but I mean, they're never going to go anywhere with Raquel. She doesn't have the look that they really go for, unfortunately. But she's a great athlete.
Yeah.
So But like Tiffany Stratton, she's the kind of girl that they go for, the blonde, athletic girl. She's really over. That crowd at Elimination Chamber was chanting for her hard. And she eliminated Naomi after a sunset flip powerbomb off the top of the pod. That was actually pretty cool. One thing I have noticed that with Kevin Dunn being gone, there's a lot less camera cuts. They're not doing the shaky camera stuff as much.
They're doing a lot better with the camera work.
Right. Yeah, it's really good. I like their production values.
I don't feel like I'm on a boat and I'm like...
Yeah. Like, there were times where I wouldn't watch a match just because of how many times they cut the cameras. So,
right.
I would say the match went way too long once all the pods were empty. And to me, like I think I said this before, not that I want them to get hurt, but when you look at that Elimination Chamber and the flooring outside the ring is so padded that you don't even hear a thump when they hit it. Like, I'm not, granted, the first Elimination Chamber, they were landing on steel. I'm not saying I want them to land on steel, but it looks like a crash pad, and it just...
The only problem I had with the original Elimination Chamber, and it caused an injury, was where the top of the pod and the roof meet. You had this much gap.
Right. This one, they have more room.
Yes.
I do like the way it's constructed, but it just... when you don't even hear a sound when they hit, the outside, it just,
Because if you watch the original Elimination Chamber back, Survivor Series 2002,
yeah,
and watch RVD's leg land right on Triple H's larynx.
Yep. Yeah, and he spent the night in the hospital.
Yep.
But Becky Lynch won the match. It was okay. I mean, at least they didn't do, like, weapons and stuff like they do in the War Games or Hell in a Cell, so that was good.
Oh, you mean like the Extreme Elimination Chamber match?
Yeah. The Grayson Waller effect was stupid. They brought out Cody and Seth Rollins, and this was cutting jokes, and then Cody cut a promo and Rollins cut a promo, and then they ended up beating up Austin Theory while Waller just stood there.
That could have been saved for Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, that's what it was. This was a Vince Russo Raw segment. That's what that was.
Yes.
I don't see what anybody sees in Grayson Waller. He's got X-Pac go-away heat to me. Right. Austin Theory, I totally see what they see in Austin Theory. He to me, he feels like Kurt Angle. He can be serious, but he can also be very comedic.
Yes.
But when it comes time to perform in the ring, he can do it. But I don't see what they see in Grayson Waller, and I get that they were in Australia, so they brought him out. But Bronson Reed's from Australia. I don't know, he might be from New Zealand, but still same. He didn't do anything on Elimination Chamber, so.
I want to say my favorite part of the whole men's match was when who was it that was getting his head bashed into the pod, and Kevin Owens is like this at the same time as it's happening.
I don't remember that part, but it was a really stacked men's chamber match. I mean, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul.
Yeah,
that's stacked, with talent.
I still say LA Knight should have won it.
Yeah, but they're not gonna. As long as Rollins is the champ, they're not going to do it with LA Knight because they don't want to split the crowd.
Right.
At least with Drew, it's a little different. But I liked how Owens locked himself in the pod with Logan Paul and was beating him up. I thought that was Lashley speared Logan through the pod. They're doing that way too much. They've done it in like every chamber the past few years. Same with on the outside of the ring, spearing people through the barricade. Too many people use the spear, in my opinion. Way too many.
I want to say the best portion of being put through the pod was when Kane threw people through the pod in the very first one.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought Lashley was pretty impressive. I mean, he seems like he hasn't aged a day since he debuted in like 06, or 05. And it's
late 05.
Right. I've heard the term black don't crack, but that man just looks like he hasn't aged a day. It's just crazy. And at one point, when Logan Paul was eliminated, the door was open, so AJ Styles came in and attacked LA Knight, and LA Knight ended up getting getting eliminated.
Did you watch the little video of Logan Paul when the referee's like, "You gotta get out," and he's like, "I can't move."
No, I didn't.
I'd seen it. It was like, okay, this is stupid.
Yeah, and then Logan Paul hit Orton with the brass knuckles, and that ended up giving Drew the win.
I want to put that in quotes, brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Because you can tell that they're plastic and they're painted.
Right. But, the main event, and I get why they did this as the main event, although one of the participants is horrible. Nia Jax against Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's family was in the front row. It's her home country. I completely get why they did it. And she's popular. She, they make her act like she's a bad guy, but she's not. I mean,
if you watched her drop from the middle rope for the bonsai drop, she just does what she normally did. Just let go and bite him.
Oh, yeah. I try not to pay attention to Nia Jax. She sucks so badly. She's so horrible. Hopefully she never main events again. I mean, she did the Samoan drop on Rhea Ripley out on the announce table.
That was horrible.
Right onto one of the monitors. Mm-hmm. Like, every other wrestler has the common decency to knock the monitors out of the way.
I saw that.
Just dropped Rhea Ripley right on it.
And you can hear Rhea Ripley in her head say, Jesus.
Yeah, she wanted to beat the crap out of her, and I don't blame her. But Rhea Ripley got the riptide and ended up winning, so that's cool. And, the crowd went home happy, which on most pay-per-views they probably should, so it's cool. But, I don't know, it wasn't... I mean, there was 4 matches, and the thing was so long, and I don't know, it's WrestleMania season, so that's cool. I don't think there should be a pay-per-view between the Rumble and Mania anymore. I just don't. One more thing I wanted to mention before we get into something. TNA signed Alexander Hammerstone from MLW, and I think that's really cool. His match with Josh Alexander was good, but he's a big jacked up dude, so I don't know what he'll. What are you doing? God.
Finally, Nick's Picks has come back to Cheap Pops.
When did it ever leave?
For about a week. And I got something for you too.
Oh, that's cool. See, he got me my own. Isn't that nice of him? He got me my own so I can, say, oh, I like Nick's Picks. Whose idea was it for the logo?
You.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, you give me stuff to play with, and I'm gonna roll with it.
I like that. That's really cool. Thank you for that. But before we get into that, I'll take that, and then happy birthday.
Yay! Today's not my birthday.
No, it was, but his stuff hadn't come in. This is a really cool jersey. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Oh. Yeah.
I knew you wanted it.
I love this.
While he's opening that, I bought this the other day. The Vader Funko.
Oh, that is really awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
I love this.
Tom and Nick Mysterio, the 3 amigos with R-Truth. And it's under Judgment Day on the website, which I think is dumb. It should be under R-Truth, but whatever. But I knew you'd like that, so. Don't mind the wrapping, because I'm horrible at wrapping stuff, but.
Ooh.
I know how much you like Disturbed, so I thought that was something you need.
Yeah.
Guy, their character that they have on all their stuff, so I thought you'd like that.
I'm keeping the bag.
Yeah, I even forgot I had that bag with all the legends on it, so.
Still the best birthday card he gave me, and I gotta see if I can find it, is the Trish Stratus birthday card.
Oh, yeah. But, we'll take care of that later.
And I kind of spoiled myself for my birthday.
WWE shoes. He doesn't watch the current product, but he buys WWE shoes.
I thought they were cool! That's all I got. And you know how much I love video games?
Yep.
The actual hatchet for Assassin's Creed 3. This is awesome.
That's cool.
And I bought some more wrestlers.
Oh boy.
And
Are these the ones that you showed me?
Yep.
Oh man, I can't take you anywhere. Well, while you're getting them out.
This is just for you.
Oh, thank you, Owen Hart.
Yep.
I am not a nugget. That's cool. I bought this because I do overnight stocking.
That is awesome.
And one case came in, Penta Obscuro. I thought this was badass looking, so I bought this. I thought that was pretty cool. And I used my discount on it too. Austin 360 with the blood, that's cool.
Yeah.
The face really doesn't look like him, but that's cool. I like that.
And I actually got a Dean Malenko.
Oh. Man with 1,000 holds with the 4 Horsemen logo on the front. That's cool.
And I had to get Chris Benoit.
Oh boy. Even though that looks nothing like Chris Benoit, but...
Well, you know how WCW was. And a WWF Chris Benoit.
That looks like Mark Jindrak's face.
I know it does!
That's really weird. I thought you were going to buy the whole set from him, the whole box.
I wanted to, but some of them in there I didn't really want.
Right.
The one thing I do regret not getting was the weird-looking China action figure.
Nah, I don't care about ordering a China figure. So, do you want to start out with the 98 Knicks picks, or do you want to go to the 2000s?
Let's start with 98.
98. All right. So, No Way Out 1998. It was In Your House. It was on February 15th. What we're going to do is we picked a certain month. So it's February. He's actually got notes. I'm so proud of him. So it'll be No Way Out from 98, which was in February, and then Superbrawl for WCW, which was, I believe, a week later, if my notes are correct. But the main story going through the whole pay-per-view was that Shawn Michaels was injured. Yes, next picks. Shawn Michaels was injured from the backdrop onto the casket from the Royal Rumble.
Yes, that was the actual injury, but it was him working out.
So the whole storyline was, is DX going to have another partner? And at one interview, Michael Cole said, well, if you don't pick somebody, then the WWF is going to appoint somebody, and Triple H said he didn't care. So we will explain later who they picked. If you haven't seen the pay-per-view already, I mean, it's from 1998. But
if you're living under a rock.
Right. The first match, Mark Marrow and the artist formerly known as Goldust with Sable and Luna against the Headbangers, and Goldust was dressed up as Marilyn Manson.
Which was really cool. I really did like
funny.
that.
JR called him Manson Dust, which I was funny.
That was hilarious.
And Mark Marrow kicked Sable out of ringside, and because he was jealous. And at one point, Luna interfered, and Sable came back out, and it caused a big distraction. The Headbangers switched, and they ended up getting the win. And then Marrow and Sable, started getting into it, and she shoved Mark Marrow down on his ass for the first time. So that was pretty cool. And Sable was starting to become
into her own and everything.
Yeah, so
she still couldn't wrestle worth shit.
Right, but I mean, I thought it was good. It was a good opener. I mean, I've always liked Mark Marrow. I liked him when he was Johnny B. Bad.
Yes.
And if you ever get a chance to meet him, he's a really nice dude.
He really is
nice, and he really appreciates his fans. So, and he does a lot of motivational speaking. And just wanted to let everybody know, just since I'm noticing it, if you want this shirt right here, Cheap Freaking Pops, cheappops.redbubble.com, all our merchandise. And we just came up with a new logo, and that's going to be going up there soon. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to print it out.
And we might put this up there, too.
Okay, yeah. Maybe not the Cheap's Pop part, but the next picture.
No, the Cheap Pops is custom to us.
Yeah, so...
just for us.
Do you remember what the next match is without looking at your notes?
No.
It is...
Well, I want to do it because I got to know.
Well, then get them ready because we're actually doing a show here.
Yeah, they are ready. The next match was Pantera versus Tanaka. Or
Pantera Pantera against
Yes.
Taka. Yes, with Sonny as the guest ring announcer, Brian Christopher on commentary making Japanese jokes, which would not fly today.
No, it would not.
And JR calling Brian Christopher Jerry Lawler's son, which he is,
Yeah.
you know, or was, because he's dead now, but Taka ended up getting the win. But
I love the men Too Cool.
oh yeah, he was great. I liked him as Too Sexy Brian Christopher.
Right, and this is just before they started getting momentum with Too Cool.
Well, they did Too Much for a while.
Yep.
And they had that match with Al Snow at King of the Ring, and then they ended up being Too Cool. But you know, they always had the charisma. It was just getting the right thing for them to do. I mean, it was a typical light heavyweight match because WWF couldn't get the luchadors that WCW had because they snatched up all the good ones.
Yes.
And Taka was great, but if he didn't have anybody really for him good to work with, it wasn't really going to matter. You know?
The one good match that he did have was with the light heavyweight title was with Christian on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Even though yes, he did lose the title against Christian.
Yeah, the one with Aguila at WrestleMania. WrestleMania that year, WrestleMania 14. I thought that one was good too, but it was hard to do that when you've got, you know, you're not grabbing from the cream of the crop at that point. So, yeah.
Ooh yeah.
The next match for the NWA North American title, Jeff Jarrett
versus Bradshaw
with a crapload of NWA guys on the outside. Jim Cornette, Bradshaw, the Rock and Roll Express, and of course the referee made the NWA people go to the back, except Jim Cornette, which of course you gotta have Cornette
because he has a manager's license. Right. People,
yeah, and then they actually said that over the announcements,
which was really cool.
Yeah. Bradshaw whipped Jeff Jarrett with his chaps at the beginning of the match. Cornette is really good at taking bumps, like he's really good at like flipping over the ropes.
And the words of JR, he went to like a government mule, people.
But it was a short match. Jeff Jarrett got caught using the tennis racket. He got DQ'd. And then everybody from the NWA came out, attacked Bradshaw, and then the Legion of Doom, in their only appearance on the whole pay-per-view, came out to make the save. So I thought that was kind of weird. Next was the famous Nation of Domination promo. If you've ever seen the gif of The Rock rolling his eyes, that's what this promo is from the Nation of Domination promo from this pay-per-view. It was the match of War of Attrition match. The Nation, which was The Rock, Farouk, Mark Henry, D'Lo Brown, and Kama against Ken Shamrock, the DOA, and Ahmed Johnson. And I don't know if you picked this out, but right when Ken Shamrock was going to do a Japanese arm drag onto D'Lo, you could hear him say "go" to tell D'Lo to do it.
Yep.
You know,
I forget what pay-per-view it was, but on commentary with JR, he's got a hold of the Big Johnson.
Yeah. Shamrock kind of had a habit for doing that, though. There's a lot of matches where you can hear him calling spots.
Right.
But
especially the part with the chair with the Rock, and he goes, "You better swing it."
Yeah.
And he can read his lips.
Yeah. It broke down into a cluster because it's a 10-man tag.
Yeah.
But
that multi-man tag, that was actually most of that pay-per-view was the multi-man matches.
Shamrock made The Rock tap out, and then The Rock and Farouk had words and shoving, after the match and stuff, leading into what was going to happen the night after WrestleMania. Vader against Kane. To me, this was the match of the night.
Yes.
I totally think the WWF dropped the ball on Vader. He had so much momentum when he came in, even when he got injured and he did the stuff where he attacked Gorilla Monsoon, so he was suspended. When he came back, the whole thing with Shawn Michaels being a little petulant child that cut off Vader's push was ridiculous. And even now, in '98, 2 years after this, Vader is getting a huge ovation from that crowd.
And you didn't want to push him?
Yeah, he was over no matter what you did with him, and he should have done more. But,
yes.
I love Kane's presentation.
I mean, even if you gave him the Intercontinental title.
Right. Or even the European title.
Right.
But Kane, just the red light and the pyro and stuff, and Paul Bearer, second only to Paul Heyman with facial expressions. You know, he's just so.
But
good.
nobody will top. Oh yes.
Yeah. I thought it was a really good match. Kane sat up after the Vader hit him with a moonsault. That was pretty crazy. Vader used a fire extinguisher on Kane, and then Kane hits a chokeslam and a tombstone, and then, of course, Kane goes under the ring and hits Vader with a wrench.
Wait, he won the match first, then he hit him with a wrench.
Yeah, because when Paul Bearer tells him to leave the ring and he drops the wrench, it bounces.
Yep.
And if it's a huge, wrench that they use to do the turnbuckles,
it wouldn't bounce.
Yeah, that's not going to bounce. I'm sorry.
It's rubber.
It was a good match, and it was good to show what Kane could do. I really like that.
Then the next match was the main event.
I think I missed one. I think the Quebecers wrestled the Goblins.
Yes. Yep, that was match 3.
But I fast forwarded that match because it's 1998. It's the Quebecers and the Godwins. I'm not watching that match.
No, and it was horrible.
Yeah, that's a filler match that I'm not going to watch.
And the Godwins won the match, and it was horrible for the finish. It really was.
I don't even remember what it was because I fast forwarded it. But.
So did I, but I watched a little bit of the ending, and they dropped the ball on that ending.
Right, but the main event that everybody came for, who was in the main event?
D-Generation X and their fill-in tag team partner, Savio Vega.
Yes, but the New Age Outlaws weren't part of DX at that point.
Nope, they were. Yeah, and the New Age Outlaws.
Yes.
Did I give away the future?
Well, if you don't know that.
Yeah, right.
But against Stone Cold Steve Austin, Owen Hart, Cactus Jack, and Chainsaw Charlie. The belly-to-belly on Billy Gunn through the table was crazy by Owen Hart. Chainsaw Charlie got powerbombed through 2 chairs by the Road Dogg.
Oh.
At one point, the referee got it back to a regular tag match, which is weird because, for the first 5 minutes, they're doing nothing but beating the crap out of each other with weapons. My favorite part in the whole match, Stone Cold Steve Austin standing in the corner. Billy Gunn's about to gets in the ring, and Austin just chucks a garbage can right in Billy Gunn's face. I mean, it was a perfect throw. And he showed me a video of the physics in the new WWE game, and it's Piper Niven throwing a trash can at, I don't know, Chelsea Green or somebody like that? And it just, it made me think of that because I was watching it at that time. It was pretty funny. Did you see the part where Terry Funk is leaning out of the ring and he lands on his head, just falls straight on his head. This
man is, I want to say, is like an old car been beat to shit.
Yeah,
and it just keeps going, just like Mick Foley.
Yeah, well, I mean, Savio Vega wrapped Mick Foley in barbed wire and then was just battering him with chair shots, and they did a hot tag, and Stone Cold's he looks like a revolving door. He's just throwing punches at everybody, going in circles, and then hits a stunner on Billy Gunn and gets the win.
Then we got the best part of the whole thing, and this is the first time that you got to see a woman being Stone Cold stunnered.
Yep, Chyna shoved Stone Cold, and then he tried to get out of the ring, be a gentleman, and she flipped him off, so of course he gets back in the ring and he gives her a stunner. Boom! As you do. I'm just, I thought it was a really good main event, and, it was kind of one of the first starts of the Attitude Era, so I really liked it, Yeah,
this is when they were starting to get a lot of momentum.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, it wasn't reflected in the ratings yet,
yes.
But it was definitely good. But, let's see, 7 days later, WCW did their Superbrawl pay-per-view, Superbrawl 8. The opening match for the television title, Booker T
versus
Rick Martel. Martel came in as the champion. The thing that sucks is, partway through the match, Booker T went to do a kick, and Martel's leg caught underneath him, and it tore his MCL.
Yep.
And if you really pay attention, you can see when it happens. You can tell.
And you can see them trying to make... The next one was all made up. This whole The whole thing. Yes, Martel had to drop the title. He was actually supposed to win the match.
Yeah. I mean, but Booker T was incredibly over at this point. He should have been U.S. champ or something like that.
He should have been world champion by that point.
But he ended up winning the title, and then Saturn came out and attacked Booker, which I think they were going to do this match later in the night.
Yeah.
You know, so title match number 2 began right away.
And like I said, for them just doing this all right on the fly is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It was a great match. Perry Saturn's so underrated in my opinion. But I thought was weird is Booker T won both matches with the Harlem Sidekick. I thought that was our scene. I mean, sometimes he'd do the missile drop kick or the Harlem Hangover or the scissors kick, but this time it was both matches with the Harlem Sidekick.
I want to talk about the Harlem Hangover.
Yeah.
That is a big man coming off the top rope.
Yeah, I would not be laying down for that move. Totally would not. What's the next match?
Give me a sec to get back into my notes.
See, you gotta stop that, because what print them out like I do. You're killing me here.
You're killing me, Smalls! The next match was, my favorite, La Parka versus Disco Inferno.
I thought it was great. La Parka's dancing was incredibly funny and entertaining. What I thought was funny is La Parka comes out with a plastic folding chair, and Mike Tenay says he's got a steel chair. So I think it's funny that the professor can't figure out the difference between a plastic chair and a metal chair, but, you know, whatever. And Disco Inferno won with the Chart Buster. It wasn't a great match, but, you know.
It was entertaining,
It was entertaining. And then there was an interview segment where Mean Gene brought out J.J. Dillon, and they reinstated Nick Patrick.
Yep.
And Nick Patrick thought he was going to referee the title match at the end of the night, and JJ said, "No, you're not. Your name wasn't drawn." And Nick Patrick, "What about my back pay? I want to talk to him about my back pay."
My back pay.
Yeah. So it was. And then they did an unadvertised match: Brad Armstrong against Goldberg, a 2.5-minute Goldberg match.
And Goldberg wins.
Yeah. Goldberg squashes Brad Armstrong. You know. The next match. Chris Jericho against Juventud Guerrero. Mask versus title. Yes.
And this was a really, and I want to say the match of the night right here.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. But Juvi went for a Hurricane Rana, got caught in the Lion Tamer, and ended up having to tap out. And, of course, he takes off the mask, and Bobby Heenan's got to make jokes about how he looks and all that stuff.
And, of course, Chris Jericho's making jokes about it.
I like Bobby Heenan. He's my favorite color commentator of all time. But in WCW, he relied way too heavy on the jokes, you know, and
especially with the cruiserweights.
Yeah. But it was a great match. The next match, not so much. Steve Mongo McMichael against the British Bulldog. Mongo sucks. He never got any better. He had been in the company like 2.5 years at that point. He never got any better.
He had a lot of charisma, but...
Yeah, charisma don't, you know...
Yeah, it can only get you so far.
Yeah, but Bulldog won with a Fujiwara armbar, which I thought was really weird.
But he did not tap, people.
Yeah,
he did not tap.
Mongo didn't tap out, so... the next match, I don't know if you watched it, but I didn't. I remember it being a good match, but I have
DDP versus Chris Benoit.
Yeah, I have a hard time watching Benoit matches just because of what, you know, his final days were, you know, and you can say what you want about him, but I just, knowing what he did in his final days, I have a hard time watching his stuff, so.
I have a hard time taking a look back at a lot of the hardcore matches and he getting hit in the head and everything.
Yeah. So I remember it being a good match. I mean, it's DDP and Benoit.
Yes, it was a really good match.
Yeah, so
But not the match of the night. But like I said, Juventud Guerrero and Chris Jericho was the match of the night.
Right. The next match, Macho Man Randy Savage against Lex Luger, no DQ. Macho Man was so good in this era.
Yes.
97, 98 Macho Man and NWO was just tremendous.
My favorite Macho Man didn't come until 99.
Right. Luger had his ribs taped. Liz actually jumped into the ring while Savage was in the rack and scratched, Luger's eyes and then jumped back out of the ring. She was really getting more involved at this point than she had been.
I want to say I like WCW Miss Elizabeth better than WWF.
I do too. But Savage was in the rack, and then Hogan held the NWO back and said, I'm glad he got beat. And I don't know if you noticed this, but they showed it live, and then they showed it in the replay. Luger's walking away from the ring, and he spits on a fan.
Yes.
Right on camera. Like, the camera is right in his face, and a fan says something to him, and he just spits right in his face.
I want to know what was said.
I want to know why he thought it was a good idea to do that on camera. Like,
right?
You know, but,
I want to know what happened and everything.
Yeah. The most predictable match of the entire night, the Outsiders with Dusty Rhodes against the Steiners with Ted DiBiase.
Yep.
If you had been watching the TV and the few pay-per-views leading up to this, you knew Scott Steiner was going to turn on his brother.
Yes.
You knew it. Rick Steiner started the match. As soon as Rick Steiner started the match, I knew it was going to happen. He cleared the ring of everybody, and then they went down into the pose where Rick Steiner gets down like a dog, and then Scott Steiner gets above him. You know, he winks. Yeah, he winks at the Outsiders, and then double axe handles his brother, and the Outsiders ended up getting the win. You know, so now they're the tag champions. Dusty Rhodes posted Ted DiBiase, and that was actually the last appearance of Ted DiBiase, believe it or not. So I'm sure he got paid for a while after that. But
what kind of sucks because I liked him better in the NWO because it was like big money Ted, and it was like this is actually believable of them being
right. But this was the era of you knew when guys were turning into the NWO. You knew when that was coming.
This is actually starting them a little bit to like this.
Right, well, I mean, like the month before, when Dusty Rhodes comes out with a denim shirt that's buttoned all the way up to his chin, he never wore his shirt like that ever at commentary.
No.
You know? He always wore a t-shirt and then like a leather jacket. He never wore a denim shirt, so you knew the NWO shirt was underneath it.
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, you know, so just, you know, but my favorite match of the night, because it was so much better than their Starrcade match, Hulk Hogan against Sting for the vacant WCW title.
Yes.
Hogan was smacking the crap out of Sting with his weight belt at the beginning of this match. Scorpion Deathlock, but there was a rope break. Sting went for a Stinger Splash, and Hogan pulled the referee in.
Yep.
And then, of course, Nick Patrick comes out as the referee. So right away, people think, oh, the fix is in. He's the NWO ref. But no, he starts calling it right down the middle, and Hogan even is like, look, it's me, you know, and wants them to count faster, and he's not doing it. Sting went for a Scorpion Death Drop, and Hogan did the worst kick ever to Nick Patrick to knock him out to do a ref bump. And the NWO attacked, and Sting fought him off, and while he was doing that, Macho Man comes in with a spray paint can and hits Hogan with it, knocks him out, and Sting...
And he leaves it!
Yeah, he leaves it in there, Sting gets the win, and then Sting spray paints WCW on Hogan. So it leads into the next couple of months where Macho Man forms the NWO Wolfpack, and the whole split happens, which I hear a lot of people say that was a bad thing. The NWO Wolfpack was more popular than anything in that company other than Goldberg at that point.
Right.
The NWO Wolfpack was over, and, you know...
Right there.
Yep, and down here, but it's kind of covered, but...
And right there.
Not so much the tomato face Sting, but, you know... I thought it was good. So out of the two, which do you think was better? Superbrawl or No Way Out?
I have to say Superbrawl.
Yeah.
At this point, I would have to say Superbrawl because...
Well, match-wise, I would say Superbrawl because the only really stinkers that were there were Mongo and Bulldog.
Yes.
And, I mean, well... People wanted to see Goldberg smash people, so...
Right.
But for me, a 2.5-minute Goldberg match...
Yeah.
You know, I liked it better when he was wrestling like Kurt Hennig later in the year.
Yeah.
And somebody that could actually test him and make him do a good match. Or if you can ever watch the one with William Regal, where William Regal pretty much exposes that Goldberg can't wrestle at all. You know, but... And we have the... Sting's final match right now, and in the match, Sting's sons are actually performing moves. dressed up like their dad. One's the NWO Wolfpack Sting, and the other one's the 1990 Sting. So that's really cool.
That is really cool.
That's really cool. And I know the one spot that you're looking for with Darby Allin and a ladder and.
But I want to say that they actually used Sting's WCW entrance song, "Seek and Destroy."
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Well, I haven't watched this match yet, so.
Yep, for his entrance when he came out.
So the next series that he picked was from 2000. The next picks, the Great American Bash from WCW. And the King of the Ring from WWF, and these were 2 weeks apart, but still the same month, June. But you can see the complete difference between the two companies by this point.
Let's start with Great American Bash.
Okay, that's good because that was the one that was first. It was on June 11th. The opening match, the Cruiserweight title, Lieutenant Loco of the Misfits in Action, who was Chavo Guerrero.
I want to say it.
Well, you gotta be a little Chavo. And then Disco Inferno, who was part of the Filthy Animals at that point.
That was actually pretty entertaining, the Filthy Animals.
Right, and the Misfits in Action had their guy Pops, who was an old man, who was an actor that was dressed up like a general.
Yep.
And he faked a heart attack, and then Major Guns gave him mouth-to-mouth, and it revived him, and he, like, tongue-kissed her and stuff. It was,
oh my God.
It was stupid. It was typical Vince Russo, Jerry Springer stuff. And I know that he hates it when people say that Vince McMahon was his filter, but he was. Because in TNA, Jeff Jarrett was his filter. And a lot of stuff that Vince Russo did in TNA was really good. Some of the stuff was really bad. But more often than not in TNA, Jeff Jarrett was there to kind of right the shit.
And so wasn't Jim Cornette.
Yeah, Jim Cornette hated Russo.
Oh, I know he did.
It wasn't a great match. I've never been a fan of Chavo Guerrero at all. Kerwin White, you know.
No, I like Eddie better.
Yeah, and Disco, I've never really given a crap about, so.
But we said it so many times. If he would have came way earlier, like back in the 80s, how over would have been?
Oh, yeah, he would have been right up there with Honky Tonk Man. He would have had major...
Yes!
So, but... next, the Mamalukes against Chronic for the #1 contenders for the tag titles.
What is a Mamaluke?
Yeah, Vito wrestled with the hardcore title on the whole match, and he pretty much ignored the match. He only cared about the belt, and then Chronic won with the high times, so they became the #1 contenders. It's a WCW tag match in 2000. It's really nothing special. This match, you can't wait to play this kind of match on the game, so why don't you go...
An ambulance match!
Yeah, who was in it, though?
DDP Bang versus Mike Awesome!
And Canyon was out there in a wheelchair with a halo on.
Better than Canyon!
Yep. I love the Awesome Bomb through the table to the outside. That was cool. Awesome was a freak athlete for his size. It was just ridiculous the things that he could do.
I just want to say this, hands down, this was the match of the night right
there. It really was. I mean, you could tell that DDP was kind of slowing down at this point, but it was really good. Kimberly came out and tried to interfere, and then Miss Hancock, Stacy Keibler, came out to stop her. Canyon stood up out of the wheelchair. It's a miracle! And,
oh my God!
And hit a diamond cutter on DDP through the stage.
Yep, right off the stage.
Yeah, so Mike Awesome got the win by putting DDP into the ambulance. And then Canyon did a promo after, and that was when he first called himself Positively Canyon. So that was pretty cool.
Bang!
Do you remember who was in the next match?
A little bit.
It was a boot camp match. G.I. Bro against Sean Stasiak. Who was G.I. Bro?
Five-time. Okay, it was Booker T.
Yes, but that was his original gimmick back when he first started wrestling before he was in WCW. He came out on a zip line wearing, army fatigues and a flak jacket. It was cool. So it was pretty much like a last man standing match. You had to answer the tag out. Chuck Palumbo interfered.
And I even wrote that in my notes. I'm like, the last man standing match rules.
Right. But that was the original idea of a boot camp match back in the day anyway.
But what was funny is that I actually watched WWE's boot camp match from '98, Al Snow versus Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah. That one was a lot better than what this one was.
Yeah. G.I. Bro got the win. I kind of expected that. They weren't doing, no company was doing anything with Sean Stasiak at all. So,
the most memorable thing he has ever done was SummerSlam 2001, chasing after The Rock.
Oh yeah.
And The Rock just sidestepping every time.
Yeah, that was funny. The next match, somebody that we're going to meet, well, I've already met, but I don't know if you were there too. Shane Douglas against The Wall, a best-of-5 tables match. It was alright. I mean, Shane Douglas was kind of, iffy at this point. He had a lot of injuries and stuff.
And The Wall was...
They didn't know what to do with him anyways, so, but at one point, there was a huge ladder, one of the huge painter's ladders, and Shane Douglas used, I think it was a chain, to punch Wall in the face, and Wall fell through a stack of tables. And, Shane Douglas won the match. Nothing to write home about. It's just, it was... And then you go to the next typical Vince Russo booking, a Steel Asylum match, which was a round cage that fit inside the ring. It was only like 8 feet around.
I want to say it was about the size of our table plus us right here.
And it was Scott Steiner against Rick Steiner and Tank Abbott. It was a brawl. Scott Steiner was so roided up at this point, it was ridiculous. He looked like he was about ready to pop.
Yeah.
And he had Madeja and Shakira with him as freaks, and he ended up getting the win. I mean, Tank Abbott's in there. It's not going to be a 5-star classic, but I liked the cage concept. You put the crazy man Scott Steiner in an asylum. Makes sense, but it just wasn't...
They didn't have enough room in that to do anything.
Right. And at this point, the brother, stuff with Scott and Rick had kind of worn out its, welcome. So, what was the next match?
Billy Kidman versus Hulk Hogan for a #1 contender match.
Right. And he came out as Hollywood Hogan in this one with the NWO music, and Horace Hogan was the special referee. Kidman was doing the whole Shawn Michaels and SummerSlam selling job. Hogan, overselling all the punches and stuff. Hogan hip-tossed Kidman through the announcer's table at one point.
I urge people to actually take a look back at SummerSlam 05.
Yeah, it was
of that match.
Yeah, Torrie Wilson came out and gave Hogan a set of brass knuckles, but before he could use them, Kidman kneed Hogan into Torrie, and she fell off the ring apron. Kidman used the knuckles on Hogan, but Hogan kicked out. Torrie hits a low blow on Kidman, and Hogan uses the knucks and wins the match and the title match at Bash at the Beach. If you don't know what happened at Bash at the Beach 2000, you might want to look that up because it's pretty crazy.
Yes.
The next match was my favorite match of the night. Ric Flair against David Flair.
Woo!
With Vince Russo in David Flair's corner. If you want to see what Charlotte used to look like before she had the boob job and the facial surgery, they call her Ashley because that's her real name.
Yes.
But you'll definitely see the way she looked back then, and it was completely different than she does now. But they all came out to ringside. Ric Flair's unfortunately deceased son Reed was out there.
Yep.
And Little Nate just the ref, so that was pretty cool.
That was good stuff, Little Nate.
Yeah, Little Nate was good. I thought it was an entertaining match.
It really was.
Vince Russo handcuffed Ric Flair at one point, and then Reed Flair gave Russo a low blow, and then got the key and unlocked Ric Flair. And then Ashley, also known as Charlotte, handcuffed Vince Russo at ringside, and Flair was chopping the crap out of Russo, and David Flair tapped out to the figure 4. And then my favorite part is Reed and Ric Flair, and even Beth, Ric Flair's wife, doing the crotch chop at the top of the ramp to Russo. That was great. Very entertaining. David Flair is very underrated in my opinion.
He really is.
He was really good at bumping. He was really good at selling, and I liked the crazy character that he did for a while. Crowbar.
I want to say he's better than Charlotte in that ring. Way better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would totally agree with that. I think the part you want to see is coming up pretty soon.
Yep, right now, actually, I think it is.
Well, and since we're talking about Sting, the next match has Sting in it. The Human Torch match. Which, Vince Russo said, oh, there was an Inferno match. We're going to have a Human Torch match. Oh, there it goes. Oh! Darby Allin doing a swanton through panes of glass onto steel chairs.
Just look at that. Just look at all the little dots all over his back.
Yeah, that's going to take a lot of tweezers to get that glass out of there. But that's, I got to watch this whole match fully because that's.
Here's the replay. Oh, it just doesn't get any better.
That's crazy. That's just being completely crazy.
God,
because those were shower doors. That's what kind of glass that was. But that's just crazy. He's a crazy man. They fought on top of the Tron, and then Sting got set on fire. It was a stunt man. I mean, that's why Sting was wearing a T-shirt. And then he fell off. He didn't fall. He jumped off the Titantron onto a crash pad, and then they went way overboard with the fire extinguishers. They were letting loose with those fire extinguishers for a good 45 seconds. It was ridiculous. I think it was mainly to mask who it was, so they could get him on the gurney, and you wouldn't know that it wasn't Sting. I mean, but typical Vince Russo booking with no filter. That's what it was. A complete spectacle that I can't believe Sting actually agreed to. Yeah, totally. Well, talking about Sting, this right here, I think I've showed this before, but this is one of my favorite pieces that I own. Sting's autograph on an 8x10, Mean Gene, who's interviewing him on it, and then this has a huge swath of one of his T-shirts from TNA. This right here has a piece of his shirt and a piece of one of his baseball bats, which is really cool. And then this card right here is a parallel card, numbered to, I believe, 10. I think it's 2 out of 10. And then this is from the WWE when he was going against the Authority. It's got a medallion that says No Authority. This ticket was from the Glens Falls Civic Center, back when it was actually still called the Glens Falls Civic Center. Big Time Wrestling, Sting was there. Now, my former friend was doing the meet and greet with Sting, and I didn't have anything to sign, and I wasn't going to meet him again. Well, I just got in line with my former friend, and the guy didn't even ask if I had bought a combo. He didn't say a word. So I just brought the ticket in with me, got my picture taken with Sting, and got the ticket autographed, and I didn't have to pay a damn thing. My buddy did, because he, bought one, but he didn't care because he had already paid for it. He didn't care. So, but this one, we had met him 4 or 5 months prior at a big time wrestling event, and Sting was miserable because they were just moving people through like cattle. Sting couldn't talk to anybody or anything like that. It was just a horrible experience, and I'm glad that wasn't the only experience I got meeting Sting, where he was miserable and didn't want to be there. This was completely different. He did the Too Sweet sign in my picture with him. It was really cool, and to know that nobody has this other than me. Nobody's going to have this configuration of these cards, that ticket, and that 8x10 signed by both Mean Gene and Sting. That, to me, makes me very, very happy, knowing that I have a one-of-a-kind piece. And if any wrestling fan that has something that's one-of-a-kind, it's a really cool feeling. Like the Kane piece that I have I got.
Yes.
That's a one-of-a-kind thing.
Your weapon. I want to put that in quotes, your weapon.
Right. Well, I mean, your Nick's picture, that's a one-of-a-kind. Nobody else is going to have that.
Exactly.
So. But, let's see.
And just like your shirt, too, is one of a kind.
Yeah. The main event, Jeff Jarrett against Kevin Nash, there was just so much going on in this match.
God.
Jeff Jarrett comes in as champion. The Cat comes out and says the Filthy Animals. K-Dog's the bell ringer. Rey Mysterio's the timekeeper. Disco's the belt keeper. Hoovy's the ring announcer, even though both wrestlers were already in the ring and Mike Buffer had announced them. And the Cat was the enforcer / special referee.
WCW 2000s, people.
Yeah. So when we talk about the King of the Ring, you'll see how completely diametrically opposed they are. Jarrett worked on Nash's knee. If you knew anything about Kevin Nash, he had crap loads of knee surgery. It makes total sense. What's Jarrett's finisher? The figure 4. It makes total sense. K-Dog hit Kevin Nash with the ring bell. Nash fought off the Filthy Animals. And then I got to go to the next page of my notes. Cat ended up becoming the ref. Rick Steiner comes out. Tank Abbott comes out. They're all attacking Kevin Nash. Except for Tank Abbott. Scott Steiner came out and pulled Tank Abbott away. Because I think that's because Tank Abbott and Goldberg had legitimate heat. They really did not like each other. So I think that was their way of getting him out of the ring. All through the night, they had been showing the Goldberg monster truck and Eric Bischoff being, worried. And they were like, oh, what's Goldberg going to do? He's here. What's he going to do? You're kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen. But the Goldberg monster truck comes out, and Goldberg really, really milks the spear to the point where you know what's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of spearing Jarrett, he spears Kevin Nash, joins the New Blood. Jarrett retains the title. Goldberg turns heel. It didn't last long because the fans didn't really care.
I want to say the one thing I do want from that one pay-per-view is the Goldberg jersey.
The Goldberg jersey was cool. And the thing is that a lot of people would say, oh, well, they must have made a lot of money on their merchandise. No, they did not. Because they had guaranteed contracts, they were not getting merchandise checks for the T-shirts. They may have for the licensed stuff like action figures and stuff, but they were not for the T-shirts. So, but let's go King of the Ring 2002. 2 weeks later, on June 26th, this is the King of the Ring tournament, back when they actually used to do the whole tournament on that night. The first match, Rikishi against Chris Benoit. It didn't last long.
Rikishi won over disqualification.
Yep. I fast-forwarded through this because
that's okay. I fast-forwarded through most of the thing anyway.
Rikishi advanced. The next match, I love Eddie Guerrero in this era with Chyna.
Yes!
Him against Val Venus. I was just like, nope.
Val Venus won the match.
Yep. There was a really funny backstage thing with Pat Patterson. Because he was going to be in a evening gown hardcore match with Gerald Briscoe later in the night, and he's just like, Undertaker could fit in this. I need something sexy, and the seamstress is like, I'm good, but I'm no miracle worker. Pat Patterson was gold in that segment, and
pure gold.
Yeah, it was really great. The next match, Crash Holly against Bull Buchanan. Nothing great.
No. The match I watched fully was the evening gown match.
Oh, that was perfect. But Bull Buchanan missed a scissor kick, and Crash rolled him up to win to advance.
1, 2, 3.
It was great. Well, not great, but I liked seeing Crash, advance. Yes. That was pretty cool. Kurt Angle's a comedic genius.
Yeah.
He's so good at being completely goofy and then being a badass all in the same time.
Kurt was on fire during this era.
Oh, yeah. It was him against Jericho, and Jericho in this era was just as much on fire, so it was great. Kurt
Angel. He called him Kurt Angel.
He called him Kirk Angel.
Yes, Kirk Angel.
Yeah. And Stephanie McMahon interfered and was going to hit Jericho with the women's title belt, but he didn't. She ended up hitting Kurt Angle with it, and Jericho kissed Stephanie. But then Kurt Angle got the Olympic Slam and ended up winning and advancing in the tournament. Good match. I mean, Jericho was in his prime at this point, so wasn't Kurt Angle.
And he wasn't so far up his own ass yet.
The tag titles, Too Cool against Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian did the Bill Buckner 5-second pose because they were in Boston. Perfect.
Wait a minute. 5-second pose.
And I actually went to an indie show, and I met Christian at that show, and my former friend was wearing an Edge and Christian jersey, and we did a 5-second pose with the members of the Kingdom. It was Matt Taven, Vinny Marcellia, and TK O'Ryan back in those days when it was Ring of Honor, not the current Kingdom that there is now. But it was really cool. That's one of my favorite pictures that I ever did. Great Attitude Era tag match. The Attitude Era tag team division was just stacked. Yeah. I mean, Edge and Christian, Too Cool, the Acolytes, the Dudleys, X-Pac and Road Dogg. It was so, the Hardys, it was just so stacked back then. It was ridiculous.
And way before the 2000s, it was stacked in 99.
Yeah.
A little bit in 98, a little bit.
It was more about factions in 98 than it was actual tag teams, but Christian used the title belt to win the match. Christian becomes new champ.
I want to say the best faction that they ever came up with in '99. Starting to beginning of it in late '98, the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah, I like the Ministry. The Ministry is pretty cool. The next match, another tournament match, Rikishi against Val Venus. Rikishi gets a belly-to-belly on Venus to get the win, and then Val Venus attacks Rikishi with the ring steps at the end of the match. So, one of my favorite matches of the night, because I think Crash Holly is so underrated.
Yes,
he was really good, especially as the Houdini of hardcore. But even in this match, him against Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle hits the Olympic Slam for the win. You know, he advances to the finals to go against Rikishi. I really miss Crash Holly. I think he would be doing so good right now as a trainer or something. You know,
it's unfortunate. He died way too soon.
Especially with the lighter wrestlers becoming, you know, I think he would have went to TNA and he would have been a major player in TNA.
Right.
This match of the night, the hardcore evening gown match, Pat Patterson against Gerald Briscoe. You could tell Briscoe hated being in the pantyhose and the evening gown and all that stuff. And he came out with a 2x4. Pat Patterson comes out with a dress that does not fit him. He's got a bra on underneath. He's got the tag still hanging from the sleeve of the dress. He's got a blonde wig on and lipstick. He was having a great time. Of course, he's wearing like tennis shoes with his, his evening gown.
What? I forgot what was in the freaking shopping cart.
Oh, he had like tampons. He was throwing pillows in the ring, and he was throwing candy out to kids and stuff. It was great material for JR King to make jokes, and JR was on fire at this point. At one point, he said that Patterson's body looked like he had a litter of pups. It was really, really funny. But thank God Crash Holly interfered and won the hardcore title.
Wait, you forgot the best part!
What was the best part?
You want a banana!
Oh yeah, he stuck a banana in Briscoe's mouth.
Where did you get the banana from?
I don't remember.
From his dance.
Oh, it was ridiculous, but funny all at the same time. So
his King of the Ring was 2000 was much better.
Yeah,
We're not even to the main event.
The Dudleys against DX, Road Dogg and X-Pac, a table/dumpster match, which means DX had to either put both the Dudleys in the dumpster and close the lid to win, and the Dudleys had to throw all three, X-Pac, Tori, and the Road Dogg through tables to win. They powerbombed Road Dogg out of the ring onto the floor through a table, and then they superplex X-Pac through a table. Tori hides into the dumpster, and when the Dudleys go to grab her, Road Dogg and X-Pac both hit him with sick chair shots to the head. They fall in the dumpster. X-Pac and the Road Dogg close the lid, and then they walk to the back thinking that Tori's in the back. Well, she's not. Dudleys pull her out of the dumpster, and 3D on each of them, and there's a table with Tori's name on it. So what do? Powerbomb Tori through the table. Bubba had been putting women through the table, and Tori was the last one to have it happen. So
I want to say the best one that he ever put through the table, Mae Young.
Yeah, that was really good.
Off the stage, and that was her own idea too.
Yeah. It was. I like that they incorporated the Dudleys match and then the DX, dumpster thing. That was actually pretty cool.
It was really cool.
The finals for the tournament, Kurt Angle beat Rikishi with a belly-to-belly off the top rope. Rikishi was a freak athlete.
Yes.
The Samoan guys, I don't know if it's racist to say it's the genetics, but they're sick, crazy athletes.
The best way to describe how physical he was the steel cage match against Val Venus, where he came off the top of the cage.
Where he did the splash, yeah.
I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but I own it on VHS.
I think it might have been Fully Loaded, the next pay-per-view. The main event, The Rock, Kane, and Undertaker against Triple H, Vince McMahon, and Shane McMahon. If anybody on Triple H's team was pinned, whoever pinned them would become World Heavyweight Champion. Triple H was World Heavyweight Champion at this point.
And he was on fire, damn it!
Yeah, and this was back when Shane actually looked good in the ring, could actually move around and do some good things before he got weird and was throwing the worst punches ever.
Look at me, Dad! I'm dancing!
My favorite part was The Undertaker grabbing Shane and grabbing him by the back of the head and saying, "Hello, Mr. Turnbuckle," and hitting Shane's head in the turnbuckle. That was my favorite part. And then, of course, he does this insane choke slam. Shane McMahon off the top rope to the floor through the announce table.
Yes.
I think they used that for the highlight of Raw or Sunday Night Heat or something for a long time. Great spot. Vince went for the people's elbow. The Rock did a nip up, hits him with the rock bottom, pins Vince McMahon. He's the new World Heavyweight Champion. Triple H never lost the belt. Vince McMahon lost it for him. So think about that, and then think about what we said about WCW for the, just a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
Completely different products at that point. And don't get me wrong, Vince Russo's Attitude Era, great stuff. Not all of it was perfect, but you look at what he did in WCW, and not so much.
Yeah.
You did not get to see Revolution, but I think there's only a couple matches that you really care about, so I'm not even going to talk about
the biggest
those.
match I care about is right there. It was right there. Is the Sting's retirement match.
Okay, well, I watched the pay-per-view this morning, most of it, so I'm going to talk about it now. AEW Revolution from this past Sunday. Really cool looking set. They really upgraded the way they actually had a Tron at the top of it, which they haven't had before, where they were actually showing the video while they were doing it, which was really cool. The opening match was for the TNT title, Christian against Daniel Garcia. The one thing I noticed, there was two guys out in the crowd dressed up as Gordy and Sean from Ready to Rumble. One of them was dressed as David Arquette in the sheriff outfit, and the other one was dressed as Sean in the red pimp outfit. It was tremendous. They were right on the camera side. It was great. Really good, well-paced match. Garcia is extremely impressive, but the patriarchy interfered and Christian retained. The Continental Crown, Eddie Kingston against Bryan Danielson. Eddie Kingston did a suicide dive, which for his body size is just ridiculous, but it looked cool. Danielson did a gnarly vertical suplex to Eddie Kingston from the apron to the floor. It was just a sick thud when Eddie Kingston hit the thing. Really good striking match. Danielson worked on Eddie Kingston's hand through the whole match, so he couldn't do the spinning back fist, but he did it anyways. Eddie Kingston won with a powerbomb. Before they had the match, Danielson said that if Eddie Kingston beat him, he would shake his hand, because he said he never respected him, but if he beat him, he would. And Danielson ended up shaking his hand and raising his hand in victory, which I thought was really cool. I'm kind of hoping this means that Danielson's going to leave the Blackpool Combat Club, because he really doesn't need it. The next match was just ridiculous, and Tony Khan, I love your company, but stop doing these matches. They called it a scramble. Hook, Lance Archer, Magnus from CMLL, Powerhouse Hobbs, Brian Cage, Dante Martin, Chris Jericho, and Wardlow. Now think about that. How many people are in that match? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What do you think is going to happen in this match? Just a cluster of a multi-man match where everybody's doing everything to everybody. Lots of high spots. Dante Martin screwed up twice doing stuff. Wardlow beat Dante Martin with just one powerbomb. Now, what had Wardlow been doing for a long time? Crap loads of powerbombs, one after the other. That's what got him over. How does he beat him this time? With one. It's stupid. It just... The continuity of a lot of the AEW stuff is really starting to bother me a little bit. I'm still going to watch it. There is a lot of things that I enjoy, but to me, this was just horrible. And Chris Jericho, you need to retire. And I don't think you should get the same send-off as Sting, because you're horrible.
Yeah.
He's not horrible. You're horrible.
Because Sting can still go.
Yeah, the next match I did really like, the international title, Orange Cassidy against Roderick Strong.
Speaking of somebody who's coming into their own, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, he's been doing really good. He's not doing all of the gimmicky stuff that he had been doing. You know, he still does his hands in his pockets, but he takes the matches more seriously now, which I really enjoy. It was a good match. There was a really quick ending, and Roderick Strong was the new international champion. And then, right, like the camera shot, Kyle O'Reilly looking like, you know, if Jason Voorhees just pops up out of nowhere behind everybody and hugs Roderick Strong. But then they give him an Undisputed Kingdom shirt. He puts it on Roderick Strong's shoulder, you know, not accepting the invitation, and then whispers something in Roderick Strong's ear, and then leaves the ring looking all, you know, disturbed or, you know, depressed. So it's really going to be interesting what they do with that. So he didn't just, you know, join his friends, which I think is pretty cool. I think that'll be interesting. But I like that Roderick Strong's the new champion. He's a really good wrestler. I like that. FTR against the Blackpool Combat Club of Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. Moxley and Claudio come out in Legion of Doom style spiked shoulder pads, but they were black, you know, and I get the Legion of Doom had black shoulder pads at one point, but they had silver spikes on them, not black with black spikes. Plus, you need to look at this. They looked like the old styrofoam souvenir LEDs, you know, shoulder pads that they sold to kids back in the day. It looked horrible.
Actually, can you start the thing? And
yeah, probably, but it was just bad on so many levels. To
let you know what's behind the card cam is what, Revolution?
Yes. It was just bad. It wasn't a great match. FTR tries. They really do try. There was one point where there was a Doomsday device with Claudio using a European uppercut for it. Usual stupid crap by Moxley. You know, biting people, making people bleed. I'm so over Jon Moxley at this point. I just don't care.
Right.
He choked out Dax Harwood to end the match. It wasn't good. Here, I'll show you where Moxley or where Kyle O'Reilly comes out. You'll see him just magically pop up behind in the camera shot. It just wasn't a good match, and that FTR lost again was just stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid.
Yeah. Well, actually, they just showed him come out, so they kind of screwed up there. But look at how he pops up in the frame like that. Let me get to the next match. I was really happy.
I gotta see that he showed it.
Look at those. Do those not look like the souvenir shoulder pads that they had for kids back in the day? They look ridiculous. They look like you went to Hobby Lobby and made those shoulder pads. It's just so bad. Deonna Purrazzo against Timeless Toni Storm for the women's title. I don't understand why this is a thing. Athena debuts. She goes against the women's champion, loses in her first match at a pay-per-view. Ruby Soho. They brought her in like she was going to be the second coming. She loses her first title match at a pay-per-view. Deonna Purrazzo is a world-class wrestler. She was in NXT. She carried Impact for a long time, especially during the pandemic. You never showed any video from Impact of what she could do. The lead up to it were, you know, the storyline of where she was roommates with Toni Storm. That's all well and good, but you did no build up to how good Deonna Purrazzo actually is. Mariah May came out dressed up as the old Toni Storm to Toni Storm's old music, which I thought was a cool touch, but Deonna Purrazzo slapped the crap out of Toni Storm at one point in this match. Really good technical women's match. And one thing I want to say, this controversy where people thought that Madison Rayne or Deonna Purrazzo dumped Madison Rayne on her head, go back and watch it and then watch this match. Madison Rayne does not know how to take a flatliner. Toni Storm knows how to take a flatliner because Deonna Purrazzo did it in this match and it went perfectly fine. So it's not on Deonna Purrazzo. I'm saying that right now. Madison Rayne took it like a DDT when she never should have taken it like a DDT. Sorry. Deonna Purrazzo deserves so much better. Toni Storm tapped out, but the ref didn't see it because Mariah May and Luther interfered. And once again, like I said, new woman debuts, gets built up for a title match and loses. This streak needs to stop.
Yeah.
Deonna Purrazzo deserves to get a rematch because this was just horrible. It's just horrible. The next match, which I think deserves to be a Match of the Year candidate, Will Ospreay against Konosuke Takeshita. Which is funny because I said earlier that Takeshita against Darby Allin from earlier in the year deserves to be, Match of the Year. And that was in January. We're only the beginning of March, and Takeshita's in a Match of the Year candidate again. That's no coincidence.
No.
The guy is really, really good. They're both part of the Don Callis family. This is Will Ospreay's first AEW match after signing his contract. Shivani saying I agree with all that, or I agree, is the new what a maneuver. He said it so many times during this, and that's all he added to the entire show.
I want to talk about what a maneuver.
Shivani, go away. Please, I love your podcast. Just go away. You mean nothing anymore. You and JR, please just go away. Let Ian Riccaboni and Kevin Kelly take over with Excalibur and Taz. Go ahead and say whatever you want about what a maneuver.
How many times have I said that I watched the 98 Raws and when Michael Cole's calling a match?
Mm-hmm.
I texted him saying I wanted to punch Michael Cole in the face. Because every third or fourth match, he would, or a couple of minutes into the match, what a maneuver!
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, there was times where I was watching the old Raws from 93 and 94, and I was really with a pad and a pen just marking off how many times Vince would say what a maneuver. It was ridiculous. You really need to see this match. I know you don't watch a lot of the new stuff. This is a really good match.
I want to see the Will Ospreay match, though.
Yeah. It was hard-hitting, technical, crazy forearms and elbow shots. Multiple standing ovations in this match because it was really, really good. Takeshita did a brain buster.
Yes, because you know how I really like the New Japan wrestling,
right.
That hard-hitting style.
But they were both up on the turnbuckles at one point, and Takeshita does a brain buster onto the turnbuckles on Will Ospreay, and Ospreay's back hit the turnbuckle and instantly had a contusion on his back.
Oh!
Remember when Terry Funk had that huge after the dumpster match? It started to look like that. It was bad. Ospreay hit the hidden blade for the win. Like I said, Match of the Year candidate.
Speaking of Terry Funk, I want to talk about the hardcore match that he had. Speaking of contusions and stuff, where he got kicked by a horse.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that one. I don't remember watching that one.
Where it led into the stables, and I think it was against Chris Candido.
Okay, I know. Yeah, I get it. I just don't remember it. I just don't remember seeing it. But
yeah, I think it was Chris Candido, if I remember. It led into the stables. Then all of a sudden, the horse just kicks him, and he goes, "I don't give a." To the horse.
Well, that's great.
That's Terry Funk for you, people.
Right. We will be doing. He already came up with the new Knicks picks for the next episode, but we will also be reviewing this. If you watched my rant on CCW Crimson Crown Wrestling before, and I looked at it, the date on this. This was recorded the same day as the last one that we watched. So expect me to go on a rant about this one too, because it will be so awful it will be good. And we still also have a PWG DVD to watch that came in a wrestling crate. We will definitely watch that and review that.
And by the end of this month, the Pro Wrestling Crate will be coming in.
Okay, and I don't know how soon we will record, if it will be before or after the Wrestling Classic, but March 23rd, Springfield, Massachusetts, presented by Zombie Hideout and Captain's Corner. Listen to this list of the people that are going to be there. The man formerly known as Elias/Ezekiel, Eric Bischoff, Barry Windham, Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Bobby Fulton formerly of the Fantastics back in the day, Matt Riddle, Christy Hemme, Brooke Adams, formerly known as Brooke Tessmacher, the Queen of Extreme, Francine, Enzo, the Sandman, Bill Alfonso, Velvet Sky, Gangrel, Amber Nova, Del Mieto, I have no idea who she is. The British Bulldog's daughter is going to be bringing some of his memorabilia, including the leather jacket vest that he wore as part of the Hart Foundation, and Shane Douglas is going to be there as well. That's a stacked lineup.
Yes.
I think that's more stacked up than last year's, and last year's was pretty amazing with Devon, Kurt Angle, Lex Luger. The Godfather was there. Teddy Long, Eddie Edwards,
Devon. Did you say Devon?
Marty Jannetty. You know, it was stacked.
Alicia Fox.
Alicia Fox was great. I wish I actually had met. I should have went and met Alicia Fox because she was actually pretty funny. But I mean, we're stoked to meet Eric Bischoff. I'm gonna wear my Aces and Eights vest, you know, because
I'm gonna wear my Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And he was a major part of Aces and Eights, you know, coming up with that. So I can't wait for that. I have my Nitro menu that I'm gonna get signed. I found my Gangrel Micro Brawler and my Shane Douglas Micro Brawlers. I'm going to get those signed.
Slow down to speak there.
I'm going to finally get a picture with Francine because the last time we met her, it was during the pandemic and she had a mask on. Sorry, I'm not taking a picture of you when you got a mask.
And you said that you wanted to get the kendo stick signed by her.
I probably will because I made a little bit of money, so I probably will. But I can't wait for this. It's going to be great. We're probably going to do we're going to go half and half on a photo op with Matt Riddle. It's going to be fun.
I want to see if we can get Matt Riddle to actually hold up something of ours.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We're going to be doing trivia. We're giving away prizes. We have a contest for somebody to name our character. We're going to have our 6-foot cardboard cutout. We've got something new and cool for the table. We're going to be giving away candy, free packs of trading cards, free WWE dog tags. It's just going to be fun. We're going to have my Deadpool, plastic head with candy in it. We're going to have a good time getting word out about the show. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, go on Facebook. Just look up Zombie Hideout or Captain's Corner, or just look up the Wrestling Classic. You'll find all the info on it. Springfield, Massachusetts, March 23rd. Google's a wonderful thing. It's not that hard to find.
Google magic.
Yeah, so cheaphopshow.com, at cheaphopshow on for social media. cheaphops.redbubble.com for merchandise.
And soon to be coming to it.
Yeah, I will put the next pics up and our new logo. Mostly Facebook for all the stuff that we do.
Merchandising. I'm not going to stop doing it.
I'm not saying you need to stop doing it.
Every time I say it, he smiles every single time. Until he stops smiling, I'm still going to do it.
So we'll be reviewing Crimson Kingdom, a PWG DVD, some other stuff as well. I'm sure we'll talk about the stuff leading up to WrestleMania,
and
some more Nick's picks. Yes. So thanks for checking us out, and follow all our social media, like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to get these out quicker than we used to. I think the longest we've done is a couple weeks in between lately, so I hate you sometimes. Thanks for checking us out. Why don't you take us out this time?
Pop guys out.